about 6 o'clock on Thursday, January 8th. I'm going to call the regular select board meeting to order. First item is set adjust agenda. So I have would like to push off the executive session again to a future meeting. Anything else?
Motion to remove the executive session?
Second.
Okay, all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries, so we have that. Just thinking, Danny didn't join yet, right?
Yeah,
You're
there's
working on
somebody
it?
that says user, and I'm asking him if
You're
it's
working
him.
on it, okay. He's sick, and he said he was gonna zoom in. Next, communication from the audience, and we actually have a amazingly robust audience tonight. Anybody here to discuss something that's not on the agenda that we're not gonna touch later, or wanna just communicate something? Please state your name.
My name is Jamie Emerson. I live in East Hardwick. We just kind of wanted to say, I know that the town of Hardwick has a revolving loan fund for businesses, and I wondered if you guys ever discussed or maybe thought it could be used for the, is it EDU they call it? Housing?
ADU.
ADU, thank you. Yeah, if that would be something to consider.
Yeah, it'd be something to
for
consider.
residents,
Yeah, we
for
haven't.
people to have extra housing in the town. I know it's very much
For
needed.
economic development, but.
I know myself,
Yeah.
I have this large barn connected to our house, and I know other people in the area do too, and you could maybe develop that and help with housing.
The Department of Housing has $50,000 grants for ADUs that people are utilizing.
That's great to know.
Yeah.
But I think it's a good point, Jamie, and we've heard from a lot of people about housing. I think hopefully in the next couple months we can get that on the agenda and have a bigger conversation about housing in Hardwick.
Yeah.
Great, thank you. Anyone else have any communication? Anything you want to communicate?
I have a question.
Can you please state your name, please?
Hello, Lydia Parker. I am here to speak about something later on the agenda. However, I have to leave in 10 minutes, so up to you if I can say anything now.
You can say something concise now.
Great, concise is great. I'm here to say regarding the conservation of Buffalo Mountain that it brings a tremendous amount of benefits to the town and fully supportive of the town acquiring it as a town forest. And I could enumerate at another point why the recreation, economics, water resource quality, and flood resiliency benefits are well worth the town's acquiring it to be a future town forest.
Thanks. Anybody else have any communication? We are going to talk about town forest later. All right, roll on. Next is select board to approve minutes from last time, which was December 18th.
A motion to approve the minutes as written?
Second.
Any discussion? I read them and they look good, but I actually wasn't here, so. All in favor of approving the minutes as written, please say aye.
Aye.
And I'm gonna abstain.
Danny is on the call now.
Oh, Danny, are you voting yay to accept minutes? Okay, got it, thank you. Next, town manager report, Mr. Upson.
Okay, so. Yay?
Yay.
Okay. Okay, so today I submitted a request to the Brownfields program through NVDA for the essential services complex for a level 2 environmental. The funds for that, so the preliminary request went in today. We're in the process of a FEMA meeting, bi-weekly FEMA meeting, and we're in the process of having to reversion all the bridge and culvert projects. So we have the engineering in, we have the cost estimates in, and so we need to go back to FEMA with this information. They'll reversion the project and re-obligate the funds to do the work. So that's like the next step in all those river crossings and bridges. I haven't done that before, but I've got the state's consultant helping me with that. So that'll be another process. And then what they'll do is they'll obligate the actual cost of the project. And then we'll know what our match is.
Oh, great.
Yeah, and which in 4720, it's gonna be 5%. Cause FEMA's
Okay.
covering 90%, so the local match, the local and state match is 10%, and we're responsible for 5,
Great.
okay?
And that's just for the fire department?
No,
Or
These
it's
are
just
bridges.
for bridges
mostly.
for all of the.
all
big
of our,
projects?
all of our 4720 FEMA projects, which we have a lot, and the
Yeah.
wastewater plant's part of that.
Okay,
Haven't gotten an offer back on the wastewater plant, they're still working on the costing of it. I don't know, I don't have much detail on that. They're pretty tight-lipped about it. CCS is planning to remove the old pedestrian bridge in the next couple of weeks. I've got Comcast rerouting the cable that goes to the Village Diner, working with the Village Diner for internet service, so we can remove the wires so they can pull the bridge. And then they're gonna put in a temporary walking bridge from the diner parking lot over to the Daniels block for their construction workers. So they're getting ready to mobilize on some of that project. They've been submitting engineering submittals for their micro piles for the wall, and RFIs are going back and forth. That's a request for information from the engineers and architects. So things are going well from that project so far. They haven't started it yet, so that's why things are going well. Sunwise Survey is looking at the end of Richardson Road right now, just to check our road layout, just to make sure that we have all the information correct up there for a potential project. And the sewer department is collecting information from several individual houses up on Hideaway Acres to redo an old sewer line up there. So if you're contacted for that, most people have been contacted, but there's still a few more that we need to get the elevations of the sewer pipes going out of the houses there, so we can make those plans.
Are we rerouting or are we just replacing where they
Replacing,
are?
we're replacing one line that's attached to several houses and then putting in a manhole,
Okay.
with the potential of future growth.
Mhm.
So we're upsizing the line that goes out of the manhole. And then on 121, we have a public engagement meeting planned for the Essential Services Project. We hope that we have a big turnout like tonight, so we can discuss the plans for that project. That's the redevelopment of the Creamery Road, for the fire department, the Hardwick Rescue, and the road,
The highway.
the highway. So
It's a big project
Is that-
and
That meeting here?
that's in the library, in the basement of the library,
Okay.
what time is that at?
6 o'clock.
on the 21st.
Mm-hmm.
And we have conceptual designs, we have some rough cost estimates.
Yeah, and we're refining those cost estimates.
Right.
We're shaving some stuff off the project. I started, staff in the office today started a webinar on the CHIP program. That's the Housing Improvement Program. It's a 3-part webinar. It's available, I think, to the public for free. The state of Vermont is putting it on. So today we talked about tax increment financing. That's gonna build up to the CHIP program and the rollout of that. Lots of questions after that webinar. It's all about taxation, stuff like that. From the Planning and Zoning Office, they're advancing the Granite Street Utility Elevation Project to implementation, including homeowner agreements and site assessments. That's the $700,000 we got for elevating structures. They're gonna use it for the utility, raising the utilities. And the VHB scoping study is complete, and the staff are wrapping up the materials so the town can use the consolidated scope for future funding and implementation.
That's
So
the
they'll-
Mill Street.
Mill Street, Main Street, so they'll come here and present their final report.
People in the Granite Street district that might be eligible for the raising utilities, are they being contacted by us? Do they have to contact us?
They're well aware of
They're
this.
well aware, great.
Yeah, Kristen has been in touch with them,
Awesome,
one-on-one.
awesome,
She's doing a great job.
good. Thank you.
Yep.
All right, question, any more questions for Obi? Next up is the road foreman report. Probably know what you've been doing, but tell us anyway.
Short and sweet, plowing, salt and sanding. Seems like every time we've been going out, we come back with repairs anyways, but nothing major. I know Opie's been having me keep track of the yardage and stuff we've been using for salt, the temperature, stuff like that. Since November 17th, I know we went out before that, but since November 17th, we've been out 62 times salting so far. And I think we're getting pretty close to being halfway through our salt budget, I believe, be close to it. And we're about halfway through the sand pile right now. But besides that, that's about it. So just,
I'm about halfway through my wood pile.
yeah. But, yeah, that's it. So everything's still running good. Like I said, just minor stuff. Broken bed chains, pistons here and there and stuff like that. Blown hydraulic hoses, but about it. So,
Good.
so far, knock on wood,
Questions for Tom?
went blurred.
All right, thank you. And thanks for keeping the roads clean, much appreciated. Next, item 1, select board to set the location for town meeting 2026, which is the first Tuesday in March. Do people wanna hold town meeting at the townhouse this year?
Yes.
That's what we talked about, yeah.
Right, so.
I motion that we.
Can we hold on for
Oh.
a second? Because we're waiting for a COO from the fire marshal. Do we have it?
For the balcony, but, we don't have it yet. I haven't heard from him, but I don't imagine there'll be a problem. We
Just
have
for the
access
balcony?
for the, yeah, it's just for the balcony because because that's where the door changed. So there had to be revisions, you know, there's a door where there was a window, there's a window where there was a door. He has to come back and do his thing. But
So.
access to the stage and.
You've already asked him to come, or
I-
someone's asked him to come.
That's,
that.
I haven't heard back, but
I would think we would
I
have
imagine that
before
can happen.
March.
yeah.
We would hope.
Are there
Yeah,
any
well,
other,
if you-
are there any other concerns with the
I mean,
Basic
there's
townhouse location?
still 200 seats downstairs, so
How
It's
many-
more than what we
we don't
typically
really
have.
need the balcony.
And I know, Tony, you got an estimate of how many people typically attend in recent years?
I think it's been around 125-ish. Yeah.
Is HCTV capable of broadcasting live from there?
Paul Fix, could you raise your hand and state your name?
Excuse me, Paul Fix, Hardwick. Is HCTV capable of doing what needs to be done from that location?
I'd have to look.
They always used to be.
I couldn't answer that right now.
It's a good question. So do we want to, do we have to decide tonight? What's hard? We do.
Yeah,
Well,
That's
let's-
gonna, that's
so
for
we,
the morning.
there's
We
always
think-
been a connection there.
yeah, so there's a
And
connection
there's
there.
Wi-Fi, whichever way.
Okay,
Can I make the motion? Is there?
yeah.
I would motion that we set the location of the 2026 town meeting to the townhouse.
Second.
Any more discussion? All in favor, please say aye.
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 Any opposed? That was an aye.
Yeah.
Motion carries. So we'll do townhouse and, where we'll meet.
Sorry, I'm slow on the mute button, but
That's okay.
I don't figure you all need to hear me coughing and hacking, so I try to.
Yeah.
Danny, was that for or against
That
That was a
townhouse?
yes.
That was a yes. Okay,
That was
cool.
an aye.
Okay, cool.
That was what?
Sorry,
I
I'm slow.
voted in favor of having the townhouse.
Great. Next is item 2, select board to consider approving a line of credit increase for Hardwick Electric Department from $300,000 to $500,000. I believe this was on the agenda last time, and I wasn't here, and I believe that Scott Johnstone provided kind of supporting rationale for the increase. I Basically, they just need a larger line of credit in order to cover current operating expenses. They're covered by the payments of electric rates as they come in. The line of credit gets paid down.
We do not have the new documents yet, so I said we'd leave it on the agenda so you guys could discuss it and whatever, and then we would need to have it at the February 5th meeting.
Okay.
The documents for February 5th, so that Tanya would be able to sign them after the closing. So it was just to make sure that you guys had all your questions answered because it wasn't approved last time. There were some questions for the need and whatnot, so it was just kind of on here to know that you're good with it, and then we'll plan on having the actual documents for signature on February 5th meeting.
Great. Thank you. Next is item 3, select board to get an update from the Conservation Commission on Buffalo Mountain Town Forest proposal and form a specific question for the warning. So do we have someone who wants to speak to that?
Yes,
Yes.
hi, Hannah Redmond, Trust for Public Land. We have a few updates, but we'll start with, there was a question last time about management costs of other town forests, so specifically Wolcott. Jack, do you want to introduce Linda?
On the Zoom call tonight, I'm Jack Travelstead with Northern Rivers, is Linda Martin. Linda is the chair of the Wolcott Select Board and is ready to inform you on what their costs have been relative to their community forest over the last couple of years.
Okay. Hi, Linda, can you hear us?
Yes.
All right. So can you tell us about the costs that Wolcott has experienced at their new town forest over the last year or so?
Okay. Yeah, it's only been a couple of years having the forest. So it's kind of new. Some of the things, we have a parking area. So I don't know what your forest consists of, but I'll tell you about ours. We have a parking area. So the town road crew will have that additional spot to plow, which will be absorbed into the highway budget, of course. They had a separate website, and we want them to be on our website with trails and updates. So there's a slight additional cost to our IT budget to have them have their own page and to keep that updated, but it wasn't very much. We have a large area that needs to be brush hogged once a year. I don't know if you have any areas in your forest, but we're going to include that when we put our mowing bid out to bid, so it's not separate. Last year they requested about $1,000, and that was for the grand opening, some site development, that was the parking area, some signage. They didn't really spend much of that because it ended up that the Trust for Public Land put on the grand opening. But they are requesting money this year, $500 for like hand tools, which hopefully if they keep it secure, will be a one-time purchase. And they do need signage for trails. We're allowing hunting on one side of the road and not on the other, that sort of thing. Directing people. They wanted a little bit of money for brochures, posters, or mailings for events going on. And their big request was they wanted $4,000 for consultation and planning for more trails and for some erosion mitigation projects. We've decided to try to put some of that in take that money out of our capital fund, if they really need it, rather than just raise taxes and have them not use it. I'm a real proponent of, if you want to create trails, find some grants, and you also have volunteers. There are sometimes matches with grants that you have to account for. But there's the state recreation grant, there's the VORIC grant, that can help create trails, or you might have people in your town that can help you do that. So that's what we've experienced so far.
Great. Thank you for sharing that.
Welcome.
Oh, we have all?
Are questions appropriate
To who?
to Linda?
No. They're not. This is for the board. The board, you can ask the question to the board and the board can ask Linda. That's how it goes.
So Paul Fix, Hardwick resident and reporter for the Hardwick Gazette. Do we know if that forest is being managed for timber and would generate income?
Oh, Wilcox?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Are you guys managing for timber at all?
I believe it's in our conservation agreement that we can. They haven't at this time. I know they're going to set aside some land for old growth forest.
Okay.
We actually at this time, let me think. No, sorry. It's
Okay.
not part of the forest.
Thank you. Okay.
But maple sugaring could be an operation,
Yeah.
you know. You can generate income off it. It's up to how you end up writing your plan, your stewardship plan, which is required before you can finalize on the land.
Yeah.
All right, we're happy to provide more examples, but they mainly sound like that. Some small maintenance costs and then trail costs if you choose, which like Linda said, can often be funded through grants. So our other updates, the appraisal has come in. The fair market value of the appraisal determined is $530,000. Trust for Public Land has sent an option agreement to the Davis family and they're reviewing that now, but we feel optimistic and anticipate having that signed soon. And the other things we have to talk about are, we have some proposed ballot language. That's one of the things on the agenda, is placing a question for town meeting. I can read our proposed language. We recommend a question like, to protect recreational access, fish and wildlife habitat, forestry, and the Moyle River water quality, and to provide outdoor educational opportunities for school children, shall the town of Hardwick contribute $25,000, be matched by more than $700,000 of other public and private funds toward the acquisition of plus or minus 329 acres of land on Buffalo Mountain to become a town forest. Anything on that, or should I move to the next update?
Sounds good to me. Carry on.
Okay. We are planning a public meeting on January 24th at 2 p.m. at the library. Rachel has reserved a space there, and the goal of that public meeting will be to present about town forests in general and this opportunity at its own meeting when we have all the time in the world, to hear people's questions, give them more information, and then also, which takes me to our next point, to start getting some interest for a steering committee. So we had mentioned at previous meetings that the next big step on the town side is establishing a steering committee of residents who want to generate public input and come up with the uses of the town forest. And now that we have an appraisal and are hopefully about to have a signed option agreement with the landowner, we're getting to that point. Rachel, I don't know if you want to chime in there.
Sure. Hi, Rachel Kane. Well, we've been wondering, again, would this be the right time to begin to create a stewardship committee or a steering committee to begin hearing from different voices and different ideas on some things that could happen there? I realize that, if there's something on the ballot for town, or, on the town meeting day, things aren't 100% there, but I think kind of spreading the word and collecting ideas from different voices and different people in town on ideas that some possibilities that could be used there, that could happen on that property. So we're wondering if you thought that would be permissible or an idea to begin to gather people, interested people that would at some point apply to the select board to be official members of the stewardship committee.
It sounds like that might come out of the January 24th meeting.
Yeah, we were hoping that at that meeting we could invite people that would be interested, and perhaps it would be an informal committee until after town meeting day, but would that be an appropriate thing for us to start doing and gathering people?
I think the question is ultimately it's the select board's authority to establish that committee.
Yeah.
But the Conservation Commission is volunteering to take on any of the work of getting that up and running under the select board's authority.
Or to at least initiate something that would not necessarily be the Conservation Commission per se, but that we could help to initiate. So that's what we're wondering if you have thoughts about that.
Sounds like a good idea. Take a leadership role, go for it. That's what I say.
I mean, just describe to the audience what that, how we usually nominate people to.
Normal nomination to committees requires a letter of interest to be submitted to the town manager's office, and then the select board reviews those. And typically, people who are interested come to the meeting in which we appoint members to a committee. That's usually how it works, and I imagine that's how it would work in this case. But it does sound like a good, I think, if you're looking to get started, to start with if you're doing a public engagement meeting and people are interested, then maybe you can tap some of those people, maybe, tell everyone that there's an opportunity to be more involved.
Yeah, okay, thank you. And then we could come and visit with Dave here and
Just,
he can take it away.
just another logistical thing, would we also need to create the committee first beforehand?
At some point, yeah.
But that would come after.
Yeah. Linda, you have something to add?
You're muted.
Woken created this committee, in the beginning it was a very large committee, but they set out, did a lot of outreach to the community, finding out what the people wanted, did a lot of, took a lot of surveys and so forth. But anyway, once we owned the forest, a smaller group of that former committee are the ones that are now managing that forest, so that the select board doesn't have to have another thing on their plate. Just as a addition to your discussion.
Great, thank you.
That's our update.
Okay,
Do we need to have a motion to have that, their statement as the ballot language?
yeah, we would have to.
That's Tony.
So,
Their language for the ballot, that's been vetted. So, do you need anything in order to put it on the warning from the select board?
Just their approval, they want it on the warning.
Okay.
and we do that on the,
When you approve the warning.
right, that it would be on sorry, it's from the floor portion, it wouldn't be a ballot vote. We could do it either way, but I guess, I don't know.
Are you looking to put it on the ballot or just have it be a,
I like the floor because you can have a discussion.
Yeah.
But
We like four.
Okay.
I like floor, but, yeah, so just to restate, where we've been with this process, some months ago, when the select board was approached with this idea of a town forest and asked if the Trust for Public Land and partners acquired the town forest, would the select board accept it? And we voted that we would. But this is a further, what we'd be putting to the voters would be a question of a financial contribution. And the proposed amount is the 25,000 on a total project amount that's in excess of 700,000 to acquire the property and associated legal fees and whatever else. So I'm looking around the room and wondering, I'm guessing people are here for this topic. I'm wondering if anybody else wants to weigh in. This would be an appropriate time, I think. Yes, please, state your name.
Eric Johnson, local inhabitant. I'm just concerned the way that we run our local governments, that this becomes another revenue stream commodity rather than a natural resource for the human healing. And I'm concerned that all the bureaucracy of accessing nature through this bureaucratic process detract from the community's ability to go into natural places. So all of the interested business partners that use the Federal Reserve know to monetize nature doesn't set well with me. So I'm wondering if the intent is to make this more accessible to human beings in a holistic way, or is it just another revenue stream through business commodities?
I think this is a project that would make the forest more accessible to everyone, because it's taking it from a privately held parcel to a public town forest that's going to be managed for the town.
Right, but the municipality is a for-profit business, and therefore it brings in all of these private contractors, like even just settling with the attorney fees and stuff. It just adds to the strain on the community to come up with these funds or get them from external places. And whenever they come from external places, there's a lien that then takes away the sovereignty of the locals to be in their natural place, which of course we know is a human right. And so I'm just concerned about this whole business of commodifying nature. And we've done it for so long, and we see the effects in our national parks where you have to pay big money just to drive in now, where they say it's the people's land. And I think we ought to consider taking a different direction, putting human beings before business.
Okay. I think I understand, and thank you. Appreciate your comments.
You're welcome.
All right. Anyone else? Okay. So, what's the pleasure of the board? Does someone want to? Do you want a motion to have that on the? Yeah. Does somebody want to make a motion that
So
we add that
moved.
to the warning?
I can second that. So
the language as read by Anna.
as read by Hannah to be added to the warning for a town meeting,
Correct.
to be voted on the floor. Second.
Wait, you said second?
She said
Yeah.
second.
Oh,
I
so
said
you
so
moved- you said
moved
so moved.
because.
Yes.
You clarified the motion.
I was just clarifying, yes.
You said second.
Mhm.
Any more discussion? All in favor, please say aye.
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 That was an aye, Danny?
Yep.
Yeah, okay. So motion carries. Thank you. And thank you for all your work, answering the questions. It's much appreciated. I'm gonna move us on to, item.
Eric? Eric?
Yeah, yes, Danny?
Yeah, the sound is terrible for your side, for your table. I can't hear anything you guys say up there.
How's that, Danny?
Better.
So if we make an effort to speak into the mic?
Yeah, moving closer, for sure, yeah.
Okay.
I hear
Okay.
a word you just said, don't repeat it, but, make it better, please.
Don't worry, I won't it's not worth it. Kaylee's reminded me to invite everyone, we have a wonderful agenda set up for everyone's viewing pleasure tonight, and so please stay to the end if you can. Next is item 4, select board to discuss changing the vault door capital line to be vault expenses to allow some flexibility beyond just the door, and Tanya outlines some expenses, including racking to hold books and maps.
Excuse me, a map filing cabinet, so the flat ones, because I don't know if you saw the pictures, we have probably 75 to 100 maps that go back a long way, that are just rolled up and tucked wherever. That would be really nice to have the drawers and be able to catalog them, and that way they can be well cared for.
And people could access
And
them.
people could access them, they'd be cataloged, so we'd be able to find them.
Right. And I presume you might need more structures stored, I don't know, bookcase type things in the vault
The other one is,
downstairs.
yep, so I moved all, because we have the 2 vaults upstairs where the land records are, and they did a lot of moving, Opie helped me. So I got all but 23 of the land record books right from the beginning in that back vault where land title searchers use. But the shelving and storage is just about gone. I actually have 23 more to move in there. So those 4 shelves, would be able to put those in there, and then maybe, I think it was 40, 50 more shelves for future land record books.
Great.
And Tanya, it seemed like from what you gave us, basically the difference in what we ended up not spending on the vault would cover
Yes, and then that
those.
would leave some, because Opie found a contractor, who will install the door.
Great.
Yeah, so
Great.
that would take up probably, I don't, he hasn't got a, we haven't got a price yet, but that would leave some money for that.
Yeah. So it all sounds very reasonable.
I don't know as though you need a motion, it's just that when we have that capital general, it says vault door, we're gonna just change that to say vault expenses.
And that-
it's
and-
really just an internal spreadsheet that we keep track of that, so.
And that's how it's gonna be used, as vault expenses,
Yes,
including the door.
exactly. Yes, correct, so that the door has already been expended from there, as well as cutting the concrete.
Right.
So it's just the installation that's left, and then whatever is left is what she wants to use for vault-related expenses.
Great.
And then it'd be an ongoing line item, because inevitably there's other things that need to.
No, once it's, this should, I think probably with the door, that would come pretty close to, and then there's 2 shelves and the map filing storage, 1, and then once I get that one, if I need 2, then it might be a second map, but that should be pretty much probably what's left.
Okay.
Meaning we won't need to add to it
Correct.
every year.
Okay.
Nope,
Because you have the restoration fund.
the
for
restoration
other
funds
stuff.
for the books, and then we budget some for the books and the map, and the cards and stuff, yep.
Great.
I thought, Tanya, it was like one of the clearest requests I'd seen. I really appreciated seeing all the pictures. It was like, it was a very, you put it together very well. Thank you.
All right, so that sounds great. So I'm gonna move us on. Item 5 is select board to adopt the MP1 resolutions, one for each of the CDBG-DR grants that the town obtained from the Agency of Commerce and Community Development.
Do we need to list these
I,
all 4?
Do you want me to tell you what they are?
well, I just wonder why, I mean, we have had grants from these guys before, and every time.
Every single time you
We have to
do a new
adopt the
one.
same thing.
Mm-hmm. It's just saying that you comply with
I know
this
with-
and you have these policies in place.
I know, but we
Yes.
already said it.
I know, and every single time you have to have it.
Okay.
It's a paper trail for the state corporation.
We should add the printing costs.
All
over
right.
here.
And the silly thing, I mean, and you have to do 2 of them, one for each grant, so yeah, essentially they're the same, I just.
So,
I motion to adopt the MP1 resolutions for the CDBG DR grants obtained from the Agency of Commerce and Community Development.
for the 2, they're,
The implementation and the planning grant for flood mitigation and the scope in the study.
there we go. Okay, so we have a motion,
Second.
have a second, do a discussion. All in favor of adopting the VCDP, or, no, I'm on the wrong thing, sorry. All in favor of adopting the CDBG-DR resolutions, the MP1 resolutions, please say aye.
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 Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you, and thank you guys for administering the grant funds. Okay, Okay, item 6 is select board to discuss the balance of the townhouse renovation contract and how to get the final payment paid. There was a breakdown in our packets. And it's probably here somewhere in front of me too. Here we go.
There was also a budget that the, NEK Arts put together regarding the other cost that was in the packet last time. I don't know if it made it into this packet, but.
I don't think I saw that.
Okay.
No, I brought mine, but
You brought yours. Okay.
anybody needs to look at it.
Okay.
So this, just to summarize what this says, there was a base bid of $281,521. The town agreed to put in $20,000 in an original MOU with NEK Arts. That stuff happened, and it looks like NEK Arts, after the $20,000, the contribution would have been agreed to be $261,521.
That's with the 20,000, yep.
And the contributions to date from NEK Arts are $220,603.08
To the project.
Well,
that the
that
MOU
to Rugco.
That the
Rugco.
MOU contains.
Yeah.
Yes.
Regarding the MOU.
I mean, NEC Arts also invested over 43,000 to the project outside of that,
Outside of the MOU.
from our funds, yeah.
So the MOU was just about the construction contract.
Yeah.
For the
really.
lift project.
It was based on the bid, yeah.
So, does NEK Arts have the capability to
No.
come up with that? No.
We're out of money right now.
So essentially didn't have as much money as, or didn't have as much money for the construction as projected.
We met the bid amount, we didn't meet the overages. We don't have more money to put into it. We've already put in the 261 plus 43,000 to the project.
No, that's this, plus this,
Right.
not this, not the 261, the 220.
Right.
Yeah.
220 plus 43, sorry.
Yeah.
Meaning the 40, like the balance to the MOU, the 40,000, that 43 went elsewhere into
Is
the
what?
building.
Outside
It
of
went
that.
into the
Outside of
project
Rugco, right,
before
outside
the
of-
construction started and in lead up and.
So like soft costs.
And other costs, yeah.
Other construction projects within the building. So there was other contractors working on other projects outside of the MOU that those costs were paid for by NEK Arts.
But it was all related to this project, the addition
Okay,
and the accessibility.
okay.
And there were overages because of the unforeseen.
There were
fire
change
damage.
orders, yep.
Right.
The outside of the building, there was some structural integrity stuff from a fire sometime in the early 1900s that they had to reframe in order to nail the addition to. There were some changes in the flooring. So to a tune of about 50,000, I think that was no, 38,000 was the change orders.
It says 31. 784 and 74 cents.
Yeah.
So, but just to be clear, so I'm understanding correctly, so NEK Arts did put in as much in total into the project as proposed, it just didn't all go into the construction contract.
Correct.
Didn't go to the contractor
So
that
the
bid
the other construction related costs were unanticipated as well?
No.
No, they were leading up to the project and in preparation.
Those were agreements that were already in place.
Removing the, the outside, the old fire escapes and doing other work to prepare for the project. Paying for the architect, paying
Yep.
for the project manager.
Yep.
that, none of that was included in the bid from the construction.
Right,
company.
yeah, it normally
Right.
wouldn't be.
Right,
I just,
but it was all related to the project.
definitely, I get that.
Yeah.
So,
Danny maybe had a question.
Danny, do you have a question? Kaylee thought you had a question.
Yeah, no, I was shaking my head. Sound is still really terrible as far as hearing you folks, but, I mean, the bottom line is, the MOU at best was very poorly written if there were construction costs in the project that weren't in the MOU. Bottom line is the MOU says NEK is 40 grand short. We've already put in an extra 20 grand, now we gotta put in an extra 50 grand. My point is, that's why we need a public works director. Period.
Okay,
Well, I agree with that, Danny. We still have to decide because we owe a bill to this company to do it. At the last meeting, we had talked about there's still $21,000 in the capital improvements balance for the townhouse.
There's not,
Oh.
because that balance is of 6/30/25, and we gave $22,000 to them in September.
So it's a negative balance then?
No, it's not negative. That just doesn't include the 5,000 that was contributed after July 1st. So you take the 21 plus 5, so 26 less 22. There's like 4 grand in there.
Okay, so never mind.
okay. So we
which-
don't have this in our capital for this,
Well, in the overall fund you do, but not set aside for the townhouse.
right.
Yeah.
So is there a proposal for where this comes from? From anyone?
I feel like we're having deja vu with the library, like,
Where's the money coming from?
but the library, ended up going out and raising it all and closed the shortfall.
Right,
And now, we have $50,000 to pay, and where's it gonna come from?
right, so in the library example, they did continue fundraising until they closed the whole gap, even after the project was completed.
Right.
Is there any chance NEK Arts is in a position to
Well,
do
of
the
course,
same?
we're gonna continue fundraising
Okay,
if we're in business.
okay.
Yeah,
All right,
but I don't, this is
What's our options?
due now.
Yeah,
So,
we've already.
well,
punted
that was
this
true
down.
of the library as well, wasn't it? Like, didn't we front money, or am I wrong?
Well,
No.
no, we actually didn't have to because the final pay rec, we just barely got, so they've since
Oh.
fundraised, so.
So the timing worked
We've been
the
sitting
timing-
on this,
the
we've been
timing
sitting on
worked
this for
out.
4 months.
Danny Hale,
Let's lend NEK Arts the money and they can pay us back. They can pay their bill. So they're, that's my opinion. They can fundraise, pay us back the money, and then we can, start from there. Clearly, it didn't work well this time around.
well, I'm not gonna, I don't know how that works
all right.
for the nonprofit, but, you can renegotiate the lease and figure out all kinds of different ways to
So the
glean
only
us for
possible
money.
place it would come from would be the fund balance, right? Since we probably don't have it in do we have?
We have it in capital. We could pull it out of the capital buildings. It's just that,
At that rate, it would take 10 years to pay it back at you could make the townhouse, because again, that's sort of just an internal planning
Yeah,
tool.
yeah.
So you could essentially make the townhouse negative, but it
Negative.
would take 10 years setting $5,000 aside for that to become positive again.
Mhm.
I mean, because there's an overall balance in your capital general fund for the buildings, but then you don't have it accessible for other things. And like I said, if you did $5,000 a year, it takes 10 years before you get that
Well, yeah.
positive again.
And in
Yeah,
grant
I'll go
writing
with
that we do.
idea. I'll go with that idea.
But that's also, in that example, that's us paying that negative back. Because it's us putting $5,000 every year versus
Yeah.
NEK Arts paying it back.
Correct.
So if they're, just to give time to, right?
mhm.
Yeah.
To me, it's the most logical thing to do is to take it out of the the building's capital fund.
Well, it is, because then it'll show that that money, the town put that amount of money into that building at that time. And, I mean, that's how you're gonna have to prioritize when you put money in buildings, because we can't fix them all at once, right?
Right.
So this year, as it turns out, we put more money than we thought into the townhouse, so it's good. It needs, in my opinion, needs to be that many, we need to go to the next building on the injured list. You know what I'm saying? Prioritize our repairs. And at least if we have the negative balance, we'll always remember the last time we put money in that building.
Yep.
Yeah,
Or at least,
All right.
especially when you're putting a roof on it.
Yep.
We got a question.
We can't just throw the money away and say, oh, well, we missed the ball again. Strike, no biggie,
so I can-
because it's happened in every project we had, or at least more projects than we would like.
So I can motion to, is that appropriate time to that?
Sure.
I can motion to take the $50,702.66, which is the balance due for the townhouse project, out of our building capital and reflect that in the townhouse balance. Does that cover it?
Does.
Second.
So the plan will be just to put $5,000 every year away for the next 10 years until it gets positive again? And we'll just eat the 50,000?
I mean, short of it coming out of somewhere else. I mean, it
I
doesn't-
just think what we put the library through, like how we were so stickler with them about raising the money, and in this case, we're just giving in and saying, okay, we'll just pay for it, when the library was short, and we made them work and find the money, and they
Well,
did.
The difference is that we've already punted this bill 2 weeks and it's due in any case.
It's been due.
And it's been due, and they don't have the money.
It can
Right, and
still
I'm
be
not saying
due.
we shouldn't pay it, but
So
we're just gonna pay it
basically
and
what
eat
we're
it
saying
over
is
10
that
years.
we
Well,
are going to pay it.
I don't
Another
believe that.
difference is that Neckarts is a nonprofit, separate entity that has part-time use of the building. It's a town building. We don't have it's different from the library. But,
I agree with Sherry, it is a different relationship with the library, and maybe we should look at charging a fee for the building.
yeah,
I mean, the bottom line
Renegotiate
is
the
it
lease.
should be the taxpayer's responsibility, whereas the taxpayers didn't make the decisions, so. Shouldn't be a freebie, I agree.
Eric, do you want to chime in again?
I just want some clarification. Isn't there some clarity in the contractual obligation of whoever the cost overrun went to? I mean, if there was a certain set number and it goes over, isn't there some contract that says one party or other is obligated to pick that up?
It was a mutual contract between NEK Arts and the town.
And what do you mean by a mutual contract?
A memorandum of understanding that outlined the relationship and who was paying what. It's just that as it turns out, NEK Arts doesn't have enough money to
And so
make
you
up
have,
the end.
you have the public entity of the town and the private NEK. How can that be mutual?
Because we have a memorandum of understanding about how we're going to collaborate.
and a lease.
So that means that.
And a lease.
It's also
So
to
that
be
means
clear-
that the burden can fall on the taxpayers anytime it wants because of this kind of relationship.
No, it's also to be clear that this project was for the building, which is an asset of the town. NEK Arts ran the project, but it's not, it's benefiting them.
And they lease the building.
And they lease the building, so it's really,
It's a town
they
building.
ran a project for the town, for our building.
Right, but the
So it's
cost
not-
overrun has to do with goods and services and the inflation of the issued currency, which always falls on the taxpayers. So at some point, like Danny's saying, you have to hold the line against all of that external extraction from the community when they don't really have a say.
Got it. Thank you. Paul had a question too.
Yeah.
Oh.
Danny,
Do you want to go first, Danny?
I've never twice in my life agreed with Eric on two different things in one day, but.
So Paul Fix, I don't know, Danny and I barely agree either, but in this memorandum of understanding, it sounds like it was 50-50, which makes sense. Who
No.
was
No.
approving the cost?
No, it
It
wasn't.
sounds like there were change orders that affected this cost overrun.
Mm-hmm.
Were those being mutually approved by both parties? So would it make sense for both parties to somehow accept half of the cost overrun? For each party to accept half the cost overrun?
That's what mutual
So,
means.
yeah, so I totally agree, but what I'm hearing is that NEK Arts doesn't have the money,
That's not our problem.
Well,
so.
I mean, could we renegotiate the lease? And
But,
I mean, there, I
the
don't
thing
know
is,
any
there's
other
a bill,
options.
there's a bill that needs to be paid.
put us out of business, yeah.
Well,
We need
Totally
to pay
could.
it. The town.
Then the town would have its building back. I mean,
Um,
yeah.
before my time, I don't know.
So we have a motion
motion.
and a second to, pay the bill out of the building capital fund and have that reflected as a negative balance on the townhouse. So I'm gonna call that vote. All in favor, please say aye.
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 All opposed?
Abstain.
And so 4 ayes, 1 abstention, that motion carries, so that's what we'll do. If NEK Arts can contribute in the future, that would be lovely. But we need to get the bill paid. Next, item 6, select board to discuss the balance of, oh no, we just did that one. Next, item 7, select board to consider appointing Miles Tandy and Beth McIntyre as library trustees to fulfill the remainder of a 3-year term expiring 2027 and another expiring 2028.
I just need to make a correction. So actually, both of their terms will actually have to expire 2026 because of their elected positions, so they can, at the 2026 town
They're just filling in
meeting-
until the next meeting.
Yes, they'll
Yep.
fill in until town meeting, so it's actually expiring 2026, and then somebody can
Nominate
nominate them at
them.
the meeting to finish out the remainder
Right.
of those 2 terms.
Right,
So it's
right.
just
I can-
incorrect.
I can
Right.
motion to appoint Miles Tandy and Beth McIntyre to fulfill the remainder of the 2026 term as library trustees.
Do we have a second?
Second.
Or, I didn't see Miles, I don't know, Beth, is Beth here? You're Beth, hi. Do you want to say hello?
Hello.
We got your letter, thank you.
Yes, yeah, great. Yeah, I'm Beth McIntyre. I'm looking forward to serving on the board.
I think it's great that you have experience in the library. That'll be really helpful for them.
Public library for over 10 years.
Yeah.
So,
It's good.
Excellent,
Thanks for coming in.
yeah, thank you. All right, so we have a motion to appoint Miles and Beth to the library board. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. That's everyone, so motion carries. Thank you very much for your interest and your action. Next is item 8, select board to discuss the possibility of taking over the management of composting pods that Black Dirt Farm currently handles. There are 3 of them, 4,
there's
5 around town, so there had been years back a composting project, and then we lost funding and it went away.
It was a pilot project.
Yep, and then we got funding again, right, for the current project,
We didn't get funding. Black Dirt Farm
but wasn't it from Central?
was funded through
Vermont
the Solid Waste District, yep.
And that they're just now operating by collecting fees from people who
Subscription
subscribe
fees, yep.
to composting, and it provides composting within the village, access to composting places. It's a good program, but they're losing money on it. And according to their best data, it seems like not everyone who uses the composting facilities subscribes to use the composting facility. So they're asking if the town would take that over in some way.
Or subsidize it.
Or
Or subsidize it.
Right, take over the contract, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah, big.
Can I jump in? I had some questions when I got this, and so I actually just called Tom because I had questions for him.
Mhm.
He is away right now, so he couldn't come tonight, But basically, because this was a long letter, there was a lot in here. My understanding from him is that what he's looking for tonight is a yes, we want to talk about it, or no, we don't want to talk about it at all. And then if we do want to talk about it, he will then work with Opie to come up with an actual plan that we can approve. So he's just looking for like if we are interested, maybe which model we're interested in. And then I also asked him about the January deadline, and he said it wasn't that, like, if it was February, it would be okay. He would still do the service in January. So I just wanted to say that. And then I also called Greensboro because I was curious about that. And I talked to Kim Greaves, and she said that they only do it on Saturdays. They do it one day a week during their trash and recycling. And it's great. She's like, it's basically a gift to the community because none of the community members pay for it. But she said she's had no issues with it, and it's been a really good service. So I was just curious from them how
So they have a single place
they
where
do a
people-
single place, and it's only drop off on Saturday. It's not open all week. It's just like when you're doing your trash, that's when you drop off your compost. So I just wanted to mention that to the board, that I was just curious about how
That's great.
Other towns, too. I've seen a couple other towns that do the same thing,
Yeah.
like their recycling is open on Saturday and they have the place where you can dump your compost too.
That's interesting,
Yeah.
because we,
Hi, I just have a small comment on that.
Rachel.
Rachel Kane, and Kaylee told me today that this was on the agenda. Interesting item, of course. And I take my compost there, it's great, and he makes beautiful compost, and I signed up, and I was never told how or when or how much to pay. It's like, I don't know, and I signed up, way back, and I don't know what kind of procedure he has to actually collect money from people or
They had
remind
a
people.
subscription fee that you paid online.
Well, yeah, I signed up, but then I never, it's just more of a reminder, I guess, for Tom. It's like, there's more than just me probably using it and was not aware that, or how we should be paying for it or how much. So, I will let him know that myself, but that might be part of the reason he's running short, because we're not letting people know how to do that.
could be. Paul Fix.
Paul Fix again. The town's a member of the Solid Waste Management District that's responsible for solid waste. And I would suggest that the town contact them through the town's representative, because they have the expertise in dealing with these things. And the town, that's the point. I was the rep for many years. That's the town's purpose of being a member, is for them to handle these issues that take SWIPs and all kinds of things. So I just throw that out as a place.
We currently don't have a rep.
Yes, we do. Kaylee's our
I'm the
rep.
alternate.
You're the alternate?
I'm the alternate, but
Oh.
it sure turns out that I'm,
Okay.
But you
when
don't
there's
have
not
to
a
have
rep, the alternate.
For the
Yeah,
town
yeah.
to call their
Right.
director and say, here's an issue coming up.
Oh, so you
Well,
could
the
call.
Solid Waste District ran the pilot program, and then Black Dirt Farm created this thing. In the in-between time, the pilot program ended. We talked about it at maybe 2 different town meetings. Various people stood up and expressed interest in having a place to do that same composting. But when Lucian was on the board with me and I was the rep, we set a couple of different meetings and there was no one there. So then Black Dirt Farm came in with an idea to do a subscription pod, and they did the 5 locations, and various people subscribed, and including myself, and they've been picking up those from those pods, and now they're at this place where they can't afford to do it anymore.
So the town.
It's not the responsibility of the Solid Waste District to create our composting for us.
In some towns like Greensboro, they do it under the auspices of the Northeast Kingdom Solid Waste Management District. Hardwick,
That's not the
whatever-
district that we're in.
I understand. Other towns in the Central Vermont Solid Waste Management District do have collection through the Solid Waste Management District. Hardwick, for some reason, some years ago, made a decision to privatize solid waste collection in Hardwick. And so now what I'm hearing is,
I don't think that's accurate.
it was privatized, right? You've got Perry's picking up trash, you've got Perry's and all kinds of other people picking up, and Myers picking up recycling. You've got Blackbird Farm picking up compost. And now what I'm hearing is the town is looking at a request to bring the public face into it. My suggestion would be, as that negotiation happens, to bring the solid waste management district into it, who has the expertise in managing these things, whatever happens. That's all.
Great. So,
Can we just ask that Opie and Tom have a conversation about what options might work, and then come back in a meeting with some actual, with an actual
maybe the
proposal?
solid waste,
And maybe
see
talk
if they
to,
have any.
I'm
input.
happy to reach out to
But
Farron if that is helpful, but.
I wonder if the idea of just a once weekly pickup, I mean, it sounds appealing from a cost and efficiency point of view, but I guess it's probably not as convenient for people to utilize, but I'd be curious to see what Tom thought of that.
Yeah. I
If
don't
they-
know.
I don't know either.
Yeah.
The residents are legally required by the state to compost. So,
Yeah, it's true. You're also legally required to not use your phone while you're driving your car, and you're supposed to stay under the speed limit and all kinds of things.
Walking the
It's
crosswalk.
one of those unenforceable laws that the state made.
Oh, Danny, did you want to say something?
Yeah, so, this was heavily grant-funded project that Black Dirt Farm paid, that he could, if he can't cover the cost of it, selling compost at $90 a yard, I don't think that the town can afford to be responsible for, as Eric says, it's everybody's responsibility for themselves. The law doesn't say the town shall be responsible for everybody's compost. It says everybody will be responsible for their compost. And it probably says that for a reason. So I would go along with the town having one central collection site. I think the way Greensboro handles it is perfectly appropriate. If the people want free disposal, they should have to work for it. If you want to pay for the service, premium service, and have it picked up at your house, like many people do, then that's the way you deal with yours. But I don't want to have to pay for somebody else's trash.
Got it.
I second Dan's comment.
So you'll follow up for a future meeting?
Yeah.
Thank you. All right, I'm gonna move us on then. Next, item 9, select board to consider approving the SCRF loan documents for the lift stations. Documents previously signed in May 2025 are invalid?
Because the resolution was missing from the original document package.
I remember that.
Then we
You asked
brought it
for
back
it.
to the
I
next
did.
meeting, and it was dated for that meeting. Well, then it didn't work because the resolution date didn't match the loan agreement date, and they just told us like last month that, oh, by the way, this was never signed, and so it's not even valid. So we're basically starting over. I mean,
For the document,
I'm
okay.
happy to just remind you that this was to, basically repair the lift stations from flood and to increase the capacity because we could get $1 million of forgiveness from the Clean Water State Revolving Fund. So that's why it's 1.7. So it would be repairing and increasing capacity. We would get the forgiveness, and then the difference would be FEMA funds, less our 5%. So that's why it doesn't have to go to voters, because it's forgiveness and FEMA reimbursement. It's basically a grant anticipation note. So, yeah, if you
Right,
wanna.
it's great. It's a great term, just a great project.
Yeah,
And we're
it's
still
no
negotiating.
interest, it's, yeah.
We're still negotiating the lift station projects
With FEMA.
FEMA. So
Oh,
have this in place is important.
got it. And for those who don't know, the lift stations are located in areas of the village where the sewer can't flow by gravity to the wastewater treatment facility, so it has to go through a lift station. And these got flooded and destroyed
Twice.
twice. So,
So I don't know if you wanna go like read a little bit of the resolution and then
rather
there's
not,
the
but I
resolution loan agreement to be signed by everyone.
Do you have to read the whole thing?
We're just gonna, I'll read the resolution. I'll read the resolution.
You have such a great voice, Eric.
Oh, thank you. So this is the resolution regarding necessity for municipal small system capacity and resiliency program Tier 1 financing. Whereas at a meeting of the Select Board of the Town of Hardwick, Town, held on January 8th, 2026, the Select Board members determined that the public interest and necessity required that the town seek a small system capacity and resiliency program Tier 1 SCRP loan through the Vermont Bond Bank for the purpose of paying for repairs to flood damaged infrastructure due to rainfall and flooding in the summer of 2023. Whereas the town seeks to finance $1,700,000 to rebuild its lift station that was damaged in the July 2023 flooding. Whereas the town expects to be reimbursed for a portion of these flood damage repairs by FEMA and the state of Vermont. However, these reimbursements may not occur in a timely manner. They rarely do. Whereas the town does not have sufficient funds to pay for its current expenses until it is reimbursed for flood damage repairs. Now therefore be it resolved that the town should issue a general obligation note to the Vermont Bond Bank for the purpose of obtaining an SCRP loan in the amount of $1,700,000 to pay current expenses in anticipation of the FEMA and state of Vermont reimbursement. Be it further resolved that pursuant to 24 VSA 1786, Select Board may borrow money by the issuance of its notes or orders for the purpose of paying current expenses, and such notes or orders must mature within 1 year from issuance. Be it further resolved that should FEMA and the state of Vermont reimbursement not occur within 1 year of issuance of the note to the Vermont Bond Bank, the town will seek any necessary voter approval for continued financing. Be it further resolved that by this resolution of necessity, the Select Board hereby confirms the necessity of borrowing money through the SCRP to pay current expenses and authorizes the issuance of a note to the Vermont Bond Bank related to the same.
Great. Well, I mean, yeah, the whole point is that, like,
I know.
we don't wanna, we wanna
We
have
wanna
this in
have it done
place
right this time.
because,
Yes,
yeah.
got it.
because we wanna, be able to use this money, instead of our own cash.
So now I forgot where, did somebody make a motion to adopt the resolution that I just read?
Not yet.
Not yet. Does somebody want to make that motion?
I can motion to approve the SCRF loan documents for the lift stations
And the resolution?
and the resolution.
Second.
Discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All right, and Danny says aye, so that's everybody.
Resolution, loan agreement, I'll
Coming
pass it
around.
around,
Got it.
and everything's marked.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Next is item 10, select board to go through the fiscal year 26 draft budget and make changes as desired, and then consider approving a final draft for presentation to the voters at town meeting.
Yep, you guys have really stuck through it. We still have a pretty solid crowd.
Yeah, you guys are great. Do you have things, Casey, that your
Yeah, I
updates you
wanna
want to
just
present?
talk about, changes since our last meeting, things that have been updated and up for
The one that
discussion.
we signed.
Oh, wait, okay. All right, so at the last meeting, which I was not at, the local option tax, it was discussed to remove that, so we'll need to address that as well. Again, like I said, I wasn't there. Sure, whatever. Highway, oh, sorry. Oh, I'm gonna have to restart the meeting, sorry.
It's okay.
It's reconnecting. Okay, so, let me just go through. Highway, we didn't have anything significant from last time. In admin and office, we have a copier in our office and then also a copier in the PD that are from 2012, so they're about 13 years old, and we can't get parts or toner for them anymore because they're so old. So I've explored a couple different office supply companies, leasing and buying, and so it looks like leasing doesn't make any sense when I look at the numbers. They're about $4,000 a piece, so I added money for a new copier in this budget, and also in the police budget I put that here as well. It's an additional $4 on top of what they already had, the other equipment. So the new copiers has been added. It's kind of a necessity, we can't really go without it. So dispatch services, that's in red because that was actually just updated yesterday afternoon. Since you saw this, and it literally was like a few $100s. It was almost exactly perfect. So these are the actual figures that we got from the Lamoille County Sheriff's Department. So that's been updated. Fire and line items. Here we have, these are just things that I think we still need to hash out. Springfest was changed from 15 to 10 based on a recent planning meeting. And then the capital set aside, we probably need to talk about the bond payment and FEMA share of damages. These are kind of things that I think we really need to discuss tonight to finalize. And I think those are the only, yeah, that's really it. And then here, I did increase the highway garage a little bit here in $5,000 increments each year. Change this to vault expenses, and this figure is slightly different from the last version you saw. The library went down to 7% as was requested of them. And then in recreation, we won't have the coordinator position, so we're not gonna have the Social Security or workers' comp anymore, so I just zeroed those out. So that's kind of what we have since our last version of the budget. So this is where it stands right now. So we need to talk about what we want to do about some of these things.
So I would like to start us with a proposal.
Okay.
For two things that I would like to, I wasn't at the last meeting, and we don't have anything on here about local option tax and adding that to the warning.
I have an update for that.
Okay,
I have that language,
if we want to add it.
if we want to add it.
You have the language ready
Yeah.
for us.
Yeah.
So I guess what I would propose that we add the local option tax to the warning, and that we add an anticipated $50,000 of revenue, because I think from the numbers I looked at on the state website, it looked like that would be a reasonable amount to anticipate. So that's one proposal, to add 50,000 revenue there. The other proposal is that we zero out the line of FEMA contribution, or our town local contribution for the FEMA projects, because I think we could take that out of our fund balance, because the fund balance is for unexpected expenses. These are all the expenses that will total that 150 would be one-time expenses related to flooding. They're not an annual recurrence. We put this 150 in here. It's not like something that's going to happen every year. It's going to be zero the next year.
Well, actually, I think I see where you're coming from, except I think we're gonna have to do this over 2 years, because our 5%, not counting the wastewater plant, is about $375,000. So the projects aren't gonna get done all in the same year. So realistically, we're probably gonna have to do like 150 and then 150 to 200 the following year too. Just quick math, without the plant, it looks like around our 5% would be about 375,000. Which our fund balance is currently $594 as of 6/30. It might actually bump up this year slightly because of deferred revenue from, the flood of 24 and 23 that we're still waiting on. But that's just gonna my concern is we just barely adjusted the fund balance policy to say, we'll shoot for they're 15, or no, minimum of 10, shoot for 15. If we take all of those flood damages out of the fund balance, we're probably gonna be lingering around a couple $100,000, which is probably like 5% maybe.
Mm-hmm.
So then we're sort of going against our policy that we just made.
So a couple questions, just a first one, Casey, then, if our goal is 15% of our budget, then what would that be for this budget, so we know what, for our fund balance, what that
Well,
number should be?
4.7 million, so 472, it's a little over like 650 maybe.
650, okay.
Just quick math.
And then, we did at the last meeting motion to have the local option tax on the warning, but we motioned to have just the rooms and meals and the alcohol tax. So that we did already, so it is already on the warning. So, I mean, presuming it goes through, I think it makes sense to have it as revenue. I would just, yeah, so I think, I mean, for me, that makes sense. I don't know so much about the FEMA part of what you brought up, but I would imagine that extra revenue would help things. I did have an item about revenue as well, but I don't know if we want to talk about
Sure.
Eric's points first.
We just did?
Or
Does anybody else want to chime in?
So are we leaving that 150,000 in the FEMA fund?
Well, the other thought is, the other thing that you could do is, we have a bridge fund in your capital general, that has, instead of making that a line item, you could choose to set aside maybe $100,000 more into your capital general, that we could then, because a lot of the match is bridges, your Tucker Brook, Cary Road, Fisher Fall, all those. So capital general right here has this bridge fund, which has, well, we've got specific bridge in East Hardwick, but this bridge fund, you could set aside an additional $100,000 there, take it out of line items, and then that could be used towards our local match.
Let's do that.
Yeah.
And you could do that for a couple of years because,
Yeah.
and then it would save us 50,000
Yes,
at
let's do
least.
that. Do that.
That's one thought
Quick.
I thought, and, so, okay, so bridge fund, where am I here? So then we would make this 110, oops, sorry. It's a little better. And we need to do that for a couple of years because of our matches, essentially, that's where, and that's the thing is if we ended up, saving money anywhere, we still keep that money in there for bridges and whatnot, and
No,
that's a lot of our damage, our 5% damage is bridges.
Bridges and culverts.
Yeah.
Yep.
So,
we
then we take it out of here.
Great.
Okay, so then we were 8.49. The added revenue isn't gonna change the increase in budget, but it'll help the tax rate because it's less we're asking from the voters. So then we are at 7.35.
That's better.
Okay, so, let's go back to.
Can I add something to revenue, Casey?
Sure.
I know it doesn't impact that number, but it ties into the Spring Fest request. I think that if there's an expense for Spring Fest, that there should probably also be a revenue line for Spring Fest, because there's usually sponsorships and various
But I don't
other
think
things.
We're not
managing
handling the
it. It'll be-
donations. Kiwanis and the Downtown Partnership are
Yeah.
handling those.
So it's essentially a sponsorship from the town for the event. But because the 10,000 is not the entire cost of the Spring Fest. So, okay, so I think the majority of these big things we need to discuss obviously are here. So Spring Fest, that was a change from 15 to 10, because they're gonna do some fundraising for the difference. Capital equipment, I just wanna kinda show you what I did here. I did go up, I gotta get over here, sorry. I went up 10,000, and then subsequent years will be a $15,000 increase.
Okay.
But I think that still, as you look ahead, the projected balance still looks pretty good. I mean, you could, if we were starting to really nickel and dime this, we could cut 5,000 more off of that, but then the next year it's up 20,000, so I think it works the way it is, and this gets us that.
Yeah.
Then, Okay, so then your capital fire, that's staying level at 50, and that still looks good. What's going on there, sorry. Capital road, that is that hasn't changed, but it is something that we could look at, if you're looking for, another reduction. And the reason why that's going down so much is because that the center road ended up costing us about $200,000 less than we expected. So
we can.
So we could look at that. And
Yeah, but
look
we're
at,
already talking about replenishing that fund much more slowly than we
Yeah.
had been putting into it.
right. So here we look ahead. Sorry, I don't know what's going on here. Something's going on. Sorry, Danny, I don't know. Zoom seems to be having some technical issues kicking us out, but okay. So if we look at like what we're gonna do for paving, most years we're kind of just barely setting aside about what we're gonna do. And if you look ahead here, like we have to plan Hardwick Street might be a big expense in like 4, 5, 6 years from now. So I don't think we can really probably lower that.
Right.
You
No,
could
I
maybe
agree.
you could maybe knock off 5,000 there. You could knock off 5,000 there. You could knock off 5,000 equipment if we're really looking to.
Yeah.
But it's a little risky, I suppose, because we find things are more expensive than we expected, obviously. And then the capital general fund, we basically increased 7,000. And then the 100,000 extra for our flood damages, our match on that. So that's going up that amount. And then of course we are looking at the bond payment for the essential services. Maybe I should put essential services bond, probably. Should I do that, or should I leave it as highway?
Well, we're not
It's
really
mostly
bonding for the entire project, just a portion of it.
right.
Okay. All right, so I'll keep that the same then.
Yeah.
All right, so, and that's not being done at town meeting, that's being done after the fact, I
Right.
believe? Okay. So, we keep that in there.
Casey, I just had a really
Yeah.
small question for line
Yeah.
items. Memorial Day, is that different than Spring Fest? That
Yeah,
line,
it's
that pepper?
it's basically, the flags that we buy for the cemetery.
Okay,
Flags
great.
and,
Yeah.
is there no, flowers are in Downtown Beauty.
Yeah.
Okay, great, thanks.
Flags, cemetery flags. So we are at 7.35.
Okay.
I don't see a lot of other things that we can cut right now, but, so this shows, 5% property tax increase and roughly 6.5 with appropriations.
I did have a couple questions, or not so much changes, but
Yeah.
questions I just didn't
Sure.
notice before.
Yep.
So when we go to buildings,
Yeah, sure.
it looks like the yellow barn maintenance has gone up $350, and I was wondering what that was.
It's just the stormwater and LVRT leases that we pay.
Okay.
Which I know you and Eric, you talked about that, right? That you said you didn't think we should be paying those,
I
but
don't think so, but I think that
it's like one's 200 and one's
Or
like
wouldn't we
600, it's
pay
like
that out of the
$800.
pilot?
I mean, essentially, you could view it as being paid out of the pilot, but you could also bill the yellow barn for it. Because they're,
We're the permittee on those, and we're the leasee on the
They
lease.
send the bills to
Oh,
us, cause like the
right.
lease is with us, and it's a stormwater permit that's like $190 a year, and then the lease is like $600. It's about $800. I mean, I can make that 800 probably, it would be fine.
What's the
Actually, I think
pilot?
Pilot?
It increases every year, so I think it's gonna be 7,000 for fiscal year 27, I believe.
Easily covers that.
yeah, so
Plus.
7,000, and then by year 7,
It's upwards of 10 or 11, I think. It goes up like 500 to
And
1,000
that's
a
in-
year.
14.
And that's in the
That was
revenues somewhere?
28.
Really?
I'd have
I
to
don't
look.
have it.
It's in the
yeah.
revenues on our budget?
But it's blended in
Well, that's a
with
good
Hardwick.
question. Is it?
Yeah, is it? That's
Is
what
It
I'm
is,
asking.
but it's, that's Hardwick Electric,
It's buried in-
HED, and a couple other little
All
ones we
pilot.
get.
Just one
Yeah,
pilot
pilot
line.
is blended
In revenue.
together.
Okay.
Yeah. So that's, yeah. What was your next question, Kaylee?
I just had a couple of small questions
Sure.
for the police department
Yeah.
budget.
Okay.
It's more of wondering where, kind of how things come out of different pots of money, because we do have we're putting money aside for police equipment through capital, right?
Yeah.
So I was just wondering about the additional $5,000, like what comes out of capital, what just comes out of their
So the
general?
additional 5 for them, from 4 to 9 is their copier.
Oh, that's the
Because they have
copier.
a
What is that?
copier
Sorry.
with a fax that's like
Got it.
$4,500, and there's like an annual service contract of like $300, so that's the additional 5
Got
is
it.
their copier.
Great. And then the only other thing, sorry, I have like so many small notes, was I'll find it here. Yeah, I mean, I think Danny brought this up before at the last meeting and maybe even the meeting before, but just looking at some of these numbers, like, you know, training is actual 6,700, but we're budgeting 6,000. Like, are we? And then same thing, vehicle maintenance is 13,000, but we're budgeting 85.
I have two,
Um,
I have perfect explanations for those. So training is over because we had some equitable sharing funds available to us from like forfeiture funds on cases. So we received a chunk of funds and we were allowed to use those for training. So what happens is we overspend the training line and there's an income of equitable sharing funds to offset that.
Okay.
So that's that. The vehicle maintenance, there was, I think there was an accident, like a hit and run accident that we had to pay the expense for. And so there's insurance offset for that. Actually, in this case,
No,
there
we-
isn't. There isn't.
We took them to
because-
small claims court.
Yes, that's right. There normally would be. In this case,
And then
we
they
had to
stiffed us
take
and
them to
moved out of
court.
state.
And, yeah.
So we're trying to garnish their wages in New York.
Yes, so that's,
Yeah.
it's over because
Don't
of
hit
the
the chief.
repairs to
Because
the
they
car.
ran
And
into,
expect you're gonna
they
get
ran
away
into
with
the
it.
policeman.
So that's why. And a lot of times when, I guess, just because I see this every day and I'm really familiar with it, like I try to align with actual if I don't, it's typically because I know it was a one-time thing or there was
Yep.
a specific reason and offsetting revenue. Otherwise, I do typically align with actuals, but if I don't, it's because there was a specific reason, like a one-time event.
Or you know there's going to be something coming up.
Right, or we know, like, okay, well, that's going down, we renegotiated that, yeah, so I definitely look at those things.
And then just my only other small question under other payroll is the bump up in the Board of Civil Authority.
Yeah, Tanya wanted to, currently the stipend is $3 a meeting, and all of the other like DRB, planning commissions, et cetera, are $25, and so she just wanted to align that and felt that $25
Maybe we don't count.
per meeting is a little more appropriate than $3.
Do you pay in cash or?
You probably don't notice-
Pennies?
You probably don't notice because it goes mixed in with your
With our
select board.
massive select board
Exactly.
salary.
It's almost
So you
more
don't
insulting
notice
than
that
nothing.
$3.
Okay.
Yeah, so that's,
$25 seems
so yeah, I
like a
mean,
bargain for a BCA meeting.
it shows 1,000%, but it's $600, like
Great.
it's, yeah.
Thanks
So-
for explaining.
Yeah, that's what it is. So yeah, I don't know what other questions you.
I would like to revisit the equity committee if we could,
Okay,
and their budgeting and finances.
okay.
We do have somebody from the Equity Committee here too,
That's great,
and some participants from our project as well.
great. So yeah, I guess I can start with kind of my exploration of that. First, I went back and looked at the meetings, minutes and agenda. Supposed to be meeting every once a month. I only saw 6 in the last year. I went back and looked at the budget over the last 3 years. It was never fully used, and one of the times the excess funding was just donated to Springfest, so just moved over to the Springfest side of things. Currently, from how I understand it, there's $89 used from the current budget, which is mostly for snacks, coffee for the meetings. There's a grant of $10,000, which from my understanding, again, expires next month. only which of 3,300 has been used. 300 of that was used to rent the space at the Catholic Church in order to hold their meeting, their project. The other 3,000 was given in the order of $500 stipends to 6 organizations for their participation in this project. I went to the meeting the other day. Honestly, I'm kind of confused at what the project even really is or does. I can, at very least, I don't see usage of the funds being, used appropriately or effectively. And I don't see, philosophically, politically, I don't see a reason for it as well, and we can discuss that now. It's kind of what I'm putting forward. So I guess I propose removing that funding and also redoing the equity resolution that we have, because I think it's outdated and needs to be updated.
So
Does
the
anybody
grant
want-
funding isn't anything that the
Right.
town is involved in, so there's
Sure.
no removal of that.
No, I
It's
know.
just the line item for the equity committee, the 13.
Correct, I'm just
93.
speaking to the not being able to use the funds in general.
Well, I can certainly speak a little bit to that as the equity chair. I don't want to waste anybody's time going through the inaccuracies of some of the numbers you brought up, Tim, but I'd be happy to meet with you to go over them because there were quite a few from what you listed. As you can see right here in the budget, the actual for last year was $13.93. Yes, in previous years, we haven't used all of our budget, but just like every other committee, whatever's not used goes into the fund balance. So I think that the current budget accurately represents the expenses that we will have for that year.
I believe last year it was 1,200 of that was, again, moved over to the Spring Fest. And even looking at this year, only $89 has been spent, at least. That
So
was
Tim,
the-
I already said, I don't want to waste anybody's time going over the inaccuracies of that. But we do have David here from the Equity Committee who might want to speak to some of your questions, and then there's also another question too.
Someone
Eric,
explain what-
would you like to-
someone explain how the equity committee serves the community?
Yeah, sure. So the Equity Committee was started in 2020, right after the George Floyd incident. And many, many other towns throughout the state and throughout the country and organizations put out statements in support of the Black Lives Matter movement. The town of Hardwick, quite a few of the select board members decided that rather than just having a statement which said they didn't agree with what happened, that they actually wanted to do something to promote inclusion and equity in Hardwick. So they created the equity resolution. And that resolution created the equity committee. And the goal of the equity committee is a lot of different things, but their primary goal is to support the town and support belonging and making sure that everybody in Hardwick has a seat at the table and feels welcome and included. So to date, there have been a lot of different projects. There have been some community projects, but most of what we do, there have been equity issues that have happened at the town level that we've been brought in on to help support. We've worked with the IDEAL program, which is a statewide, it's run by the state, which includes lots of different other towns, and we come together and we talk about how to make our communities more equitable. And then the biggest project that we're working on right now is the Hardwick Equity Project, where we've brought together 9 different organizations and 30 people to work together to figure out what is already happening in Hardwick and what we can do more together to make our communities more equitable and inclusive. So it's a lot of different things. It's not necessarily super public facing. We work with a lot of different organizations. And yes, a lot of our budget is hosting meetings. We've hosted trainings for the town. We've worked with the town on talking about other trainings as well, book clubs, lots of other different things.
Hello.
Hi.
So, unfortunately, the sound in these meetings is just atrocious. We've got to do something about that. So participants, it'd be interesting to see if every participant has the same problem, or maybe it's my internet or something. But anyway, I haven't heard a lot of what everyone said, so I'm just gonna speak what I feel, which is probably a surprise to you guys. I think my personal feeling, and feeling I know of quite a few people, is the equity committee may have served its purpose. Given, it's 6 years later, the times we're in right now, I'm not sure that the equity committee is something, I have no problem with what they're doing, it's fine, but I'm not sure that government and, the select board in town in particular should be funding it. I think it's something that not everyone agrees on, and if everyone doesn't agree on it, then my tax dollars shouldn't be paying for it. So, if the equity committee would like to continue, what their work, which I'm fine with, and at minimum funding, they should be able to raise that some way other than with my tax money. So, I certainly would support doing away with that and letting them go out as a standalone committee. I believe there should be some separation between, state and religion or whatever. They weren't the right words, but I don't know if this is an appropriate place for the town to be pushing.
So, can you tell us what the $1,500, what the budget looks like?
Yeah,
for the
sure.
For the education, equity
Yeah,
committee.
yeah, absolutely. So, so as I said, we're finishing up this project, or Tim also mentioned that we're finishing up this Hardwick equity project. So, all of our funds go towards the community. So if we have a community event, they go towards refreshments for that, or when we've had when we've had films, they've gone towards licensing for that. Books, we've purchased books for the library. So it's all supplies, essentially. And we've also hired, we hired somebody through the Peace and Justice Center. We've hired other people to provide professional development to the town, and to the committee, and to other groups. And so that also goes to those professional services.
And if I could speak a little bit on that, some of the feedback I've gotten from some of our taxpayers, also some of our town employees, is that those trainings, I think, actually have the opposite effect of leading people to feel discouraged, disempowered, and not being able to speak up. Further, I think the role of particularly municipal government is, to provide, as we're talking about here, easy, effective, safe access to utilities, to infrastructure. If we want to talk about equity, I'm happy to, primarily in the form of applying that to infrastructure, whether that's building sidewalks that are ADA accessible, or to, make sure our crosswalks are visible for those who are impaired, or installing water meters for our taxpayers who are paying a flat rate, who maybe are more affected, who are in the lower socioeconomic status. That to me is what equity is. And again, from my understanding, and even I think Jan mentioned it at the meeting, is that oftentimes, when it's in those circles, it's like, okay, yes, it's talking through, and I'm always happy to talk about these things, as you know, but it comes off as often performative, and I don't really see what is actually being done. So from my perspective, I don't see that as the role of government, particularly small government. Happy to look at the resolution, revise that, as it seems to have been, or in response to a national event that, and we can look at how that actually applies to our town, and, what that means, what that looks like. But, I agree with Danny. I don't think it should be funded. I brought it up, so I don't think it should be funded. And I'd like to.
So I will just say, I think that if the town, the select board wants to review the resolution, that's a different conversation than tonight. And that's something that, just like the trash ordinance, is in our power to do. I will say that when we created this resolution, we had, and Eric and Sherry were also on the board at the time, we had an enormous amount of people come to the select board. Almost the whole room was full, and they provided examples and stories about how they had experienced inequity and racism in Hardwick. It was not national. It was true to their lives here. Some of them included, there were many, many different options, and the video exists from back in 2020, but it was not it wasn't solely a national reason for doing this. It was very clear that there were inequities in Hardwick, and there still are inequities in Hardwick. And I believe that we should talk about this. If we want to bring up really going over the resolution, then we should have an agenda item about it. But tonight is not the night to hash that out.
Sure, I agree.
So I will say that there might, and I don't mean to jump in here, sorry.
No, you're good.
This is your meeting, so I didn't mean to
It's
jump
not,
in.
it's a meeting of the select board.
So I think if we want to add that to a future agenda item, we totally can. David is here from the equity.
David, you get here. You can state your name.
Thank you. I'm David O'Brien, live in East Hardwick. I've been a volunteer member of the equity committee for the 5 years, about 5 of the 5.5 years that I have returned to Hardwick. And what's been driving that is not only my interest in this topic, long interest, but in the resolution, and I have copies of the resolution that the select board penned 5.5, 6 years ago. And if one thinks that this isn't a topic that is related to this town, I think you have your head in the sand. Things that are being driven nationally, regionally, statewide, that people need to be careful and you know, take notice. And this equity committee, although we've been just you know, working slowly behind the scenes, it's been driven by this I think well-stated resolution that has recognized issues in this town. And it's hard for me to believe in this environment when so many other things are deteriorating around, you know, rewriting history, rewriting rights, how people are being treated as citizens of this country, that it isn't worth spending $1,500 of this budget to pay attention to this topic. And I agree with Kaylee, if we need to make a case for the existence or the renewal of this resolution, then I think the word has to get out to the citizens of this community, so we have an opportunity to remind the naysayers why this was probably came about in the first place and why it's still a palpable reason that it exists.
So if I can clarify as well, and I want to say I affirm the dignity of all human life, and I don't think that, and I don't want to disparage anyone who has experienced any discrimination or intolerance in our community. That's not what I'm saying here. What I'm saying is that I don't believe it to be the role of government to legislate. Like, that if there's a crime that's committed, of course, that we follow up on that. I want that to be equitably followed through with. I want that to be adjudicated by our judicial system, and I don't believe anyone should be, you know, prejudiced against or discriminated against for any reason in that sense. And then even just sticking to the budget, it's that it wasn't used. And I'm always happy to have the conversation, probably more than most people want to. And so I'm always happy to talk about that and explore that in an equitable fashion, however, whatever that looks like and means. But again, I don't believe that to be the role of the local government. That doesn't mean we shouldn't talk about it, doesn't mean we shouldn't have a resolution, but I don't necessarily see the point in those trainings and fundings of that.
So I have a question. I have a question about the Conservation Commission. So did the Conservation Commission have a budget before this year? That $500?
Yes.
Hi, yeah, we get $500 a year since it was founded.
How long has it been founded?
2019.
2019. So wouldn't it be equitable to have it be 500 and 500 or 1,500 and 1,500? It's Conservation Commission. They're doing a lot of work for the town.
So it's interesting.
it
Interesting comment. So Andy's had his hand up. Could you state your name, Andy?
Yeah, Andrew Gilbert. Yeah, I guess I just would recommend, given it's a budget discussion, the line item amount in proportion to the general budget, you're weighing in on ideological or other considerations that really are applicable. You should probably take those discussions elsewhere and move through the budget.
Sure. I mean, I do agree, and I waited till the end to bring it up, and I could bring it up in old business, but it is there is a point to be made philosophically there too. So I don't know where else to bring that up, right, other than an old business. But mostly I agree, it is about the budgeting, which I think I made my point.
And for me, it's equity is equality. And if we go back to the foundation of government in America, it's stated right in the first writing that it's a self-evident truth that all man is created equal. And this is a very deep spiritual understanding of the mystery of how we all come in from one source and we're all equal. And so if we start to move this whole idea of equity into the abstract, commercial, artificial intelligence world of creating revenue streams, we are not being equitable to the natural life force. And I think this is where we go off track, is because this is a business being, because we run life as a corporate business model, we are not putting the life force first, which sustains us as self-evident, equal, natural beings. And so this is a very important conversation, and I know all of us have felt like we have been treated unfairly depending on what group we identify with. And so the conversation needs to go beyond the revenue stream, beyond the business model, beyond the commodification of the natural life and the spiritual life. And this is why it's an important conversation to take out of this context. We can't just limit things to ledgers and columns.
And so, thank you. Sorry.
Hi, I'm Renee Bledsoe. I live in East Hardwick, and I actually am on the equity committee, so this is an interesting conversation for me. And I understand what Tim is saying. I understand those concerns very well. Are we really doing things that actually push the envelope on the real specific issues like water and access? So it seems quick, and I really, your concerns resonate to me, but it seems very quick to simply eliminate it. And I just wanted to make a suggestion that if the money were left in, it could be done with a commitment of the select board to get through the budget, really revisit how that money is being spent, what the equity committee is doing, perhaps make some changes, but not just to pull it out now without engaging the town and all the impetus, and then, just let me finish.
Please, I'm
but you really could say, okay, we want to use this money to promote equity, but we want to do more specific practical things. I mean, you could do a lot of things, and then if it's not spent, or the select board decides they don't want to actually do this, then it goes back into the general fund. But it's a less radical way to do it that's respectful of the fact that a lot of people in this community really did push for this, and just taking it out in a meeting without input from the community seems a little harsh.
Fair.
Well, their input would be at town meeting day. That's that's the next level of review.
Yeah.
So
I think
it would show that.
So I think that's always an opportunity, is that we present the budget at town meeting. If somebody really wants to take an item out at town meeting, that can be voted on the floor. But I would agree with Randy. I think that the select board worked for a really long time on this resolution, and a lot of people have been a part of it in various ways. And it is for a tiny, tiny fraction of a $4 million budget. I think that it should stay for this year.
So on that note, and this will be how I kind of end it in that sense, because I recognize I do want to keep it on the budget. Kaylee, I think last time we were talking about the highway budget when you were like, I know it's only $1,000, but it is important. It's $1,500.
Well, it's $1,000 of $1 million budget. This is $1,500. You're proposing 100% of the equity committee budget, which is very different.
How many of those appear at the end, and they keep
So
going up?
So $1,000 is relative, yes.
Again, I want to then say, I agree that it should be kept to the budget, and that's why I said that I would be open to a discussion around the revision of the resolution, which would be then, and not removing it entirely, which would be a discussion, right? Which would be a more philosophical discussion, which again, I think it's clear I'm open to. However, when we're talking about the budget, and given the prior evidence and the lack of use, not only of that, but of the grant money as well, which I know it's not but it's just, they're not using the funds, and it doesn't mean.
Tim, can I stop you?
I mean, that's my argument.
Can I
though,
please
Katie.
interrupt?
Of course,
Because
sure.
you're saying things that you actually don't have the proper information for.
I mean,
And
I looked up, I got the information.
No, because the project is not done, and there's still a lot of bills that need to go out. So
Okay.
that is inaccurate information, and it's not okay to say that in front of the audience when it's not accurate.
From my reading and understanding of the budget that I got and saw, and then I don't see a justifiable reason for that budget. So I still will recommend that it still goes, that we get rid of it.
So I very much like Rainey's suggestion that that we keep it with a direction to the equity committee that we'd like to see more practical outcomes, regarding things that we can all see around. Like, one of the issues that I've long thought we need to address is that I think our water and sewer billing could be more equitable. And you brought up sidewalk crossings, just having everything be visible to every, as much as possible to people of different walks of life. So, I mean, I'd be in favor of keeping it and asking that next year we see more, like, some more concrete things. Rachel.
Assuming that, it's interesting to hear, I think in future, assuming that things continue, perhaps the equity committee would make an appearance at a select board meeting more regularly to let people know what really they are working on, because, I hear hints of it, and, I think there's some good work going on there, but I think it's because we don't hear very much about the details. So maybe going forward, the committee person could come and just do a small report once in a while, an idea for the future.
Rainey.
I just want to make a correction, I'm not on the equity committee, I'm involved in the equity project. So I'm part of one of the organizations that's involved in the project.
David.
I just want to make a footnote that indeed, relative to your point, Tim, about equity on the services in this town, the town has been a partner all along in this grant. And they've been one of the teams that have been looking internally, as the CAE has, East Hardwick Neighborhood Organization, the Grange, all those 9 organizations. You'll have to ask them what they have come up with in their new management team, but we have tried to facilitate those 9 participants, 24, 30 people in this town trying to make a difference and trying to pay attention to this issue, to look internally. So those issues, I think, have come up with that team.
Right, and I don't think it's a bad thing. I think that's in fact a good thing. I just don't think that we should be legislating it or paying for it.
So can I just make one comment? Because I was a part of the select board that created the resolution and signed off on it. There's nothing in this resolution that in particular that needs to be revised. This resolution doesn't have a financial obligation. It creates the committee. It does not fund anything. We have lots of committees that are volunteers, that are passionate about what they're doing, that we don't have in our budget. So, for consideration in the future. Maybe we just don't fund it. I mean, I think it's an important committee to have. If there are people that are willing to do that work, we should allow them to do it for us.
And what do you think about the $1,500 funding?
It's not in the resolution that it's funded.
No.
I mean, they could also be coming to the origination of when the Conservation Commission came to us because they were doing that big project and they got that $500 amount to help them with their inventory and to a basic upkeep of that. That was the need. That's why we put it in. Maybe the equity committee, defines that need and hones in on it. Or maybe it's just a committee that comes to us when they actually need money versus not spending it and turning it back in. I don't know. there are a lot of communities that don't have a line item in the budget.
I can take a couple more comments, but I'd really like to focus on the budget. Harry, you have,
Yeah, I just wanted to say,
sorry, state your name.
Oh, Harry Heller, Hardwick. In front of Sherry's shop, hanging are flags for Black Lives Matter and other types of ideological flags, and there's nothing wrong with that, and it's legal, but I don't think that it was paid for by the town of Hardwick.
No, those are my flags.
Yeah, so each individual
What does
has
that
the
have to do
personal
with it?
responsibility and freedom to want to make change in any social justice cause. But Tim's case that it might not necessarily be within a municipal complex to promote any particular ideological philosophy, but each member of any committee can exist on its own through volunteer payments or GoFundMes, in the same way that you paid for those flags to hang there and it's your legal right to do so. There are some people who may find those offensive or divisive, but it still gives you the right to do it at your own expense, not at the expense of taxpayers. And so I would say that I would agree that the committee should exist, but not at the expense of the town budget.
Thank you. David, you have your hand up too.
Well, again, another footnote, Tim tries to make the case that we haven't spent the money this year. We've been distracted by this $10,000 grant that we brought into this community to pay attention to this process and cause, and that has been taking all our time. It's taken a lot of time from just a handful of volunteers. We have 6 more months to spend that money, what we haven't spent already, on events and things that we're planning to do. But the fact that we haven't spent it, you're holding us accountable for not spending it for 6 months.
Well, and yeah, and again, I think, and I'll caveat this with saying that apparently I don't know all of the facts, but that it seems from my understanding that even the last years, this was not spent. And so in the absence of time and also equity, I would just like to either vote on it and say, be done with it, or, if there's other budget items, to move on with it. But my point remains, I think the budget should be removed.
And I think Danny agreed with you, unless he's changed his mind through the course of the conversation.
No, I agree 100%.
Yeah.
Don't have a problem with what you're doing, I just don't think it's our place to fund it.
And I guess I would fall on if we could offer some direction that we see also some practical application, that I'd be okay leaving it in. It's a small amount of money in our overall budget.
$1,500 is $1,500.
That's true. And Sherry, what do you want to do?
I mean, we can leave it in and talk about it in the future budget, but it's still a conversation that needs to be had.
This is the budget. This is the budget discussion.
Yeah.
So we'll talk about it next year.
We could.
So
I see no reason to necessarily leave it there. I mean, the committee is doing the work they're doing with or without that money. And it will come from other sources.
So can I suggest that we, if that's the feeling of the board, that we change it to the $500 that the which was already recommended, which is what the Conservation Commission receives. We have used that funding to help match the grant, the $10,000 grant that we got for the town of Hardwick. So to have it be a total of 0, I think would be a really big blow to the committee. But if the board wants to make it 500, I think that would help.
Okay. That works for me.
Yeah, that's fine.
You say no?
Yeah, of course I say no.
Yeah, and Danny, that's fine with you, Sherry?
That's fine.
Okay, so I'd say that's 3 of us.
And we'll bring it up at an
That was
agenda
my
item.
idea, by the way.
Yeah, OP's full of good ideas.
We should have went with it a while
Okay.
ago and just moved
We
on.
need, but,
And for the record, I'm always open to talking about this at any point, public or private. I was told that wasn't necessarily equitable to offer that, but.
okay, so, my feeling on this is we just spent an awful lot of time on a
$1,500.
very small amount of money, and I was really hoping to find something more like 150,000 than like
Well, we can
1,500,
keep
but-
scrolling through. Those cells are editable. I think we've done,
tried.
I think we've covered it all.
We have covered it all more than once.
Yeah.
That's why I brought it up at the end.
I think
But
some
you
of
have
the,
you
some
have
of the towns in the area are upwards of around 10%.
We went over this like 5 times.
12%
$100,000.
increases. Mooresville spent their entire fund balance in 2 years. I think we're doing pretty good.
I mean.
Okay, so-
If we didn't have the flood, I mean, the flood is huge. I mean,
The flood is
that's
huge.
$100,000 we've gotta set aside for the next 3 years to cover that. So I know we can't back it out, but if you look at it, like, if we didn't have the flood and,
Twice.
yeah, twice. There's that, and then the fact that our highway garage is on the verge of falling in, and
Right.
we'd really like to be able to do something with that. You back those 2 things out, and it would have been
Flat.
like 3%, 2 or 3%.
Yeah.
Like we've got some major factors that kind of out of our control.
We're doing good.
I didn't see anything that we could take out
Can you
of this.
put a price on
I mean,
nature's fury?
we have to do that.
Yeah,
You
about
can't put a price on
$700,000.
nature's fury, and this is the insanity of the human being.
So-
We are nature.
I just want, Danny, do you have any major budget things that you want to bring up before we say this is the budget we
What's
want?
going on at Danny's house?
No, because I'm gonna vote no, no matter what we say, so.
Oh, okay. But, well, even if you're going to vote no, do you have any?
That, yeah, you know, I'm still disappointed that, I understand Casey's method of budgeting where she knows more than we do, but.
I'm pretty sure I've never said that, but thank you.
I'll say that.
Right. I totally understand she knows more about, you know what I'm saying, about overs and unders. But taking out the public works director, that was a big deal to me. And honestly, you know, you put that back in there and we'd be back up to 10% just like every other town probably, so. That's the only thing we cut out of the budget, and that's something that this is my last budget, and I'm not happy with it, and I'm not gonna send it to the voters. You guys can.
Whoa,
What was the amount that was the public works,
100,000.
100 grand?
100.
Are we still
What
gonna
if we,
pursue that?
what if we had
Well,
a,
we've already, we don't have to argue about that, because that's already shit, you know. The staff has already decided that they don't wanna go that route, they're gonna do it their way, and you know what? You guys do it your way.
well,
It ain't I'm not saying it's a good idea, so.
one thing that has come to light in the last week or so is that we don't have any money budgeted or any plan in place for all of the FEMA properties, the maintenance of those properties that are now town property. Mowing, have we added to the budget for mowing and other maintenance issues, grounds care?
That could all be volunteered by the community.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
In a perfect world.
Let's make it a perfect world.
I agree with Eric.
Okay.
Eric, we're gonna sign
It's
you
all
up to be
taken
first
care
on the
of.
list to mow the lawn down
I
at
think that's
the
something
old
that's
hotel. I love it.
on the horizon.
Thank you.
I don't think it's.
Anytime you want to come downtown and pull weeds, that'd be super
You can call
too.
me anytime and I'll show up.
That'd be super.
So I guess the big question that I always have for this budget is, especially for the staff, like, will this work? So the last year, we heard that you really needed another staff member to help, and that's where the public works position came out of. So we know that we are gonna have an open position in the town clerk's office. We talked last time about there being some, like, maybe flexibility with some hours. That person doing some other stuff as well. But that's always my big question, like,
We won't know until we try.
well, we've had this
Well,
awesome staff for many years, and they're doing a great job.
I will say that in the next year to 2 years, we're gonna be managing a substantial amount of projects. And I'm trying to decide or figure out how we're gonna manage those projects. And it's not just like we hire engineers and architects to look out for us on that front. We can hire construction management people to look out for us as like a clerk of the works. But it's just still oversight on our end. We had a project at the townhouse where we had $30,000 worth of change orders. I mean, that's the nature of the beast. You start to get into these big projects, an $800,000 wall in the middle of Main Street, reducing traffic to 1 lane for 3 months. Like, you're bound to have costs that show up.
And there's still deferred maintenance on many town buildings.
There's deferred maintenance that has been deferred for centuries. So, we could hire 10 more people, but is it really responsible of us to do that?
Or we could just ask Eric to come do it.
Or we could just ask Eric to come do it, because he'll show
I
up
have
when we call.
unlimited resources as a 30-year community member here.
So,
Well, I mean, part of the patch that we made was to add more money to the professional
right.
services.
And that I think we're gonna be able to utilize.
But like a big project like the highway garage in our total budget would be a construction admin.
Correct.
Like, so that would be separate from
That would be
this.
like a clerk of the works.
Right,
Yeah.
and that's gonna be.
But it still requires somebody looking out for us, because no one's really looking out for us unless we're doing it. We
Right.
hired an architect for the library. Did they look out for us in the project?
Yeah, we hired a project manager for the
comment.
townhouse. Did that happen?
I can fill that hole.
So it would, having this position would likely save us their salary, right? Like we've spent.
Potentially, yeah,
Right.
More
but
than
we're
their
not gonna
salary.
just, we put this out twice.
Right.
We had some people, we had some very qualified people, some not so qualified. But the money that they're asking for a starting pay is not something we're willing to pay.
Yeah, sure.
Well, with benefits, we're probably looking at like 120 to 130, like for
Would
what
it
these
make,
people
would it make
wanted.
sense to up that for a period of 3 years, 5 years until we get through these projects to take it off after that? Does
That's
that
the other
make
thing is
sense?
if we hired a full-time person,
Yes.
they're here. We can't just be like, oh, in 3 years from now, well, we got all these projects done, we
Well,
don't
but-
really need you anymore, like.
But we hire them for a 3-year or 5-year contract, that's their term.
I don't think
know
it's gonna
people
get
that are
solved
willing
tonight.
to be like, oh, yeah, this
Well,
is a
it's-
temporary job for 3 years.
We also didn't.
Hold on, who's driving a Subaru wagon?
I have one. I've never had
KVH, color K, starts with
KVH.
what, KVH.
She can't get into her driveway.
It's
Can you move
partially
it?
blind.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Yeah.
You can come back. You want me to go move it?
No, we're gonna be done.
Do you want me to go move it?
So,
Yeah.
so
I didn't see it in the car.
I'm not as concerned about I feel like this budget, after every select board meeting gets reworked by the town office staff. They're more intimately, or at least as intimately familiar with it as we are. And so then you wouldn't be coming to us if you would be telling us if it wasn't gonna work.
When the light shines down on the person that we need to hire to do this job, we will hire them.
Great, love it.
Yeah.
With what money?
Great.
Whatever.
We'll find the money. I live in abundance. I don't live in scarcity.
All right,
I have just two tiny things.
carry on.
I think I mentioned this at the last meeting, and maybe it changed, it's just maybe not in the packet. When we look at the Capitol buildings, we had talked about moving the 1376 for Cary Road, which we no longer owe. I am gonna ask that we move that into the townhouse pot of money. There's 1376, we don't own that property anymore, so I don't know why we're,
I'll
keeping
just do that internally, like this is
Yep,
just.
but it's not accurate.
As of
We don't-
6:30,
like, we don't-
25, right?
That's just
I'll
a balance.
That's just a
but
balance, right, but
It's, and again, these aren't hardcore balances, cause this is all like, it's the capital general fund, these are our kind of internal guidelines, it's a spreadsheet that I'm using internally, so like, if you just say, you know what, move that $1,300, I'll do it in the current fiscal year, but there's no like transaction that happens in accounting, I'll move it in a spreadsheet from Cary Road to Townhouse, like, it's not.
Right.
Yeah.
But this is still printed
And then we
for
take Cary
everybody
Road
to
out.
see. So that's just for that. It's just
You
so
wanna
it's
You're
accurate.
saying you wanna move it
Take out
like.
Cary Road
I-
property.
Yeah,
Totally.
but I need to do it in the current fiscal year because like we've already closed our books, I've already presented the spreadsheet, so like I can do it in our current fiscal year.
Okay.
But as of 6:30, that's what stood,
Okay.
and it's again, just a shift in a spreadsheet, really, like it's our internal,
Documentation.
yeah, it's just, yeah.
Okay.
That's why I say it's gonna show the townhouses in the negative, the capital fund in general. These are like it's almost like a wish list, like this is kind of what we have set aside for Memorial Building, but sometimes we have to move things around. It's all of it's the capital general fund as a whole and kind of, but there's some fluidness to the balances in each, cause sometimes you have to overspend one.
What are your other things? Let's go through.
Makes sense?
No, my only other thing, and I guess that answers it, is the trails capital is not accurate because the snowmobile was purchased, right?
But
So that's
again, we're
as of-
presenting our
Right, that's as of-
2025,
right,
right, it's
right,
as of
okay.
6:30,
Okay,
yes.
great.
Yep, all of these, and that's why it's, balance 620, that's the balance on 6:30, and then in the current fiscal year, we've added to it, and we're projecting for this next budget.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
More budget items.
What are we at, Casey, for the total budget? 7.3?
7.33.
7.33.
Um,
Could we just very quickly talk about Spring Fest?
sure.
I'm not anti-Spring Fest, but at the last meeting, we had talked about getting more of a budget for Spring Fest. And there was a meeting yesterday or the day before?
Monday.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
what is the total budget for Spring Fest?
It's roughly 15,000.
15,000. So the Hardwick's gonna pay 10 of that and not get any revenue for it?
Next year. Not
Next
this year.
Not this year, not
Next
this
year.
fiscal year, next
Okay.
year. And the revenue is gonna be put back into Springfest. So this is basically, that 10,000 is a donation to that festival.
Cause it costs, yeah, it was like 15 or so, yeah, it's basically, yeah.
And if they,
Subsidizing.
and if they raise, I mean,
They
several
have-
organizations have been responsible for raising the money. We have typically given between $2,500 and $3,500 for the last 5 years, or 3 years, 4 years. So we're gonna continue to donate to that event, but we've committed to more of a financial role that's the foundational
In this budget.
in that, also in that event.
Mhm. What are you thinking?
Because it needs to change from being an all completely volunteer role.
It's hanging on by a thread.
Yeah, I have no problem with Springfest being under the town of Hardwick. I think it totally makes sense. I think if that's gonna happen, then it should be the 15, because that's the total budget. I think if it's gonna happen, it should be accurate to what's gonna happen.
But that's the budget for
And-
this year.
There's the Legion is involved, Kiwanis is involved, now the downtown partnership is involved. If we burden the whole budget for Springfest, then we own the whole thing.
Well, I'm just gonna say that, but also owning 3/4 of it is still a lot as well. If we're taking the majority of that financial burden, but then not,
We don't really benefit from it.
well, I mean, everybody in town benefits from it.
That's what I'm
but-
saying, like
but it's-
revenue wise, we're not.
So, but it's two different budgets. So the 15 is for 2026, right? And we're looking at 2027. Am I wrong?
Well, it's-
So
yeah,
we're
correct.
putting 10, the town is putting 10 into 2027. The committee, correct me if I'm getting this wrong, but the committee's hope is that for 2027, with additional funding and the same fundraising that we are going to have to do for this spring, 2026, we'll be able to hire a coordinator to do those things because the Kiwanis can't continue to carry it forward the way they have. And when the downtown partnership did the part of it that we did last year, we paid out of our grant funds for the coordinator. So we know that there's somebody that needs to get paid to do that thing because the all volunteer thing hasn't worked for a while.
No, I understand that.
That's
So
why
are
it's
we,
changing.
just so I understand, so are we basically giving $10,000 to the downtown partnership to hire a coordinator?
No.
Or are we hiring a coordinator as
To
part of it?
Springfest, to the,
But the plan is that Hardwick
the event.
is going to hire a coordinator in the future.
It
the
would
town of
be,
Hardwick.
it would
be
probably,
hired by that committee, that planning
Yeah,
committee.
who's gonna be the fiscal agent is
That's
what you're
what I mean.
asking.
That's what I'm asking.
we're
We
trying
haven't
not to be the
sorted
fiscal
that out.
agent.
The town, we're hoping the town isn't that. I hope that the downtown partnership's ready to be that, but right now, this year, for 2026, Kiwanis is that role, has that role.
And like I said, this is an effort to revitalize Springfest because it's literally hanging on by a thread. Everybody wants to show up and have a great time on Memorial Day weekend,
But nobody wants to
but
volunteer.
no one wants to help plan it.
So then why do we continue to do it? Because the whole idea of money can't
Because
buy me
everybody
love is
loves
where
it.
we're at. Money can't buy me love, so why
It's
do we
tradition.
keep trying to monetize something which is priceless?
Good question.
Yeah, that's,
So,
I think we should end with that question.
That-
We'll go home
yes.
and chew on that question, bring it right in here. I'm
Have a glass of
serious.
wine with that
Like, this
yeah,
is
it's a good question.
It's a legitimate question.
It is. So,
People love it.
But the question I want to ask is, does anyone want to make a motion to finalize this budget and say this is what we're going to put on in the town report put on the warning?
So moved.
Anyone want to second that?
I can second that.
Okay. Any more discussion on the budget?
I need to hear the motion.
So the motion was to
Accept the budget.
yeah,
Accept the
basically accept the
budget as
budget
it's written.
for, as we're currently looking at it, to be put in.
Yeah, here you guys. If you're asking if you're gonna accept the budget, is that what you're asking? Shake your head.
That's the motion. Except,
Ten four.
okay, so we got a motion and a second. Any more discussion? All in favor of accepting the budget of $4,741,600, please say aye.
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 Those opposed?
No.
No.
There we go. All right, thank you. And just very briefly, please, select board reports, new business or old business?
How's the highway garage thing? Do we know when they're gonna come in and put that reinforcement or anything? Do we have a,
just in the wintertime. There's too much going on in there. So
So it's gonna hold up?
Project. Yes, it's gonna hold up.
We'll fund you.
Yeah.
Tom will let us know
I
with his
just-
next report.
I mean, I thought
They look at it every day.
It seemed so imperative, you know?
It is imperative, but
Get a hard hat.
with buildings and things like that, we're on it.
Good, good,
Um,
good thing to follow up on.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we're on it.
I had that question. I also have a question about Christmas trees. Used to be, people could bring them to the, do we do that?
Over there now, so.
So where do they
So
go?
people who are maybe new around, new in town and don't know this, that they can take their Christmas tree stripped of all decorations to the town garage and it will be disposed of
Huh.
for free.
Haven't done it for years.
For free?
I had no idea. I would
Well,
just throw mine
there
in.
was
Take it out with
somebody
your
on Front
compost.
Porch Forum asking what to do, and so I wanted to make that announcement, and maybe we could post that as a town to let people know they can do that.
Great. Any other reports, new business, old business?
I need a dedication for the town report and a cover photo. And I know you sent a possible cover photo. I know the library
We also-
wanted to see the library,
Do
because
do
we
we
did the
need to
yellow
do that in
barn.
executive session?
We usually
No.
do.
Dedication,
The
not the cover
dedication.
photo, not the cover photo.
Okay,
isn't-
but we can't do that next meeting?
No. we
No.
do it
Oh, we
right
gotta
now.
do it this meeting?
Yeah, the town report was
No.
actually supposed to be due on the
We had-
16th next
Yeah.
Friday, but
Yeah.
it got extended a couple extra days.
Okay.
So,
What about the painting from Brett McCoy?
Yeah, I have them.
So,
I sent them
was
to
that
you.
the one that you sent?
No, it sounds like, no, we have to. Or we have a special meeting. Do you want a special meeting?
Yeah, rather.
So it sounds like there were some paintings too that Opie has.
Brent McCoy had some painting.
So,
yeah, a couple of nice paintings
I'll
of
authorize the
downtown.
town office to decide.
That's taking the shortcut. Why don't we use one of Brent McCoy's paintings as a former Hardwick resident?
that one.
There's lots of them.
That one.
I guess there
That
are a
one.
few that Opie has.
I like the first
Ooh,
one.
very.
I think that's the last one is the best one.
This one?
It goes down
Yep.
South Main Street.
Go back.
It has the Legion.
okay,
on
that's
it.
our cover photo? Or photo?
You have a
painting?
good
I kinda
quality
like that
image of
one.
it?
Yeah, me
like,
too. It's got Buffalo Mountain.
No.
I think the mountain one would print the best, personally.
This
It's
one?
simpler, yeah.
Okay.
Is it gonna be color or black and white?
Color.
Color.
You can go like this.
So then we need to have a quick executive session.
So then we need a quick executive
Really?
session to do a dedication.
Can you do that?
Can't add it now.
Can't add it.
It's not on our agenda.
I think we have to.
We removed that.
We did remove an executive session. Well, we had one on, yeah.
I already told you my two.
Can we just do it?
I think we could do two. I think it's appropriate to do two.
Okay.
They both serve the same roles.
Great.
Who's gonna write that for me? Cause I don't know
Well-
those people.
I can
Yeah.
take care of that.
You can?
For both of them,
Yeah.
yes.
Okay.
Okay.
Got it. We already
One,
took
we
care of it.
talked about it in the past,
Yeah,
you're saying?
okay.
Sorry for being so cryptic.
It's just so
We
it's
do
a,
like to make the dedication a surprise, so it's not.
all will be
Yes,
revealed.
So,
Yeah.
photos
I'm
too.
all for it, but what about the picture?
Oh, sorry, you didn't see the pictures. Oh,
Text it to Opie.
there.
Oh, I know what Opie, I'm good with that, I'm good with what Opie showed you, but that's the dedication, right? Not.
No, that's not the dedication.
The
That's
picture,
the
the
cover picture.
cover picture, he's got some paintings that Brent McCoy did that show downtown Hardwick.
Oh, okay, that's cool, as long as it's not the library. Yeah, that's fine.
Very nice.
Okay,
I'm serious, as long as it's not the library.
are we good? Did we decide on a photo?
Yep.
Does
Yeah.
everybody over there like the photo?
The one with the,
Cover
with
photo
Buffalo
should be-
Mountain in it.
It
Not
should
my
be a
decision.
picture of the town garage over there, the pillars in that town garage.
Yeah.
I mean, that is
That
not.
should be a picture of it.
Yeah.
People don't need to see, people need to start seeing what the real situation is, not the rainbow
library.
glasses.
We prefer
smoke and mirrors,
And we put
Danny.
the yellow barn on the
Yeah.
cover, so why don't
Show
you
them,
put
show them what the problem
beautiful
is. Why they're
library?
spending the money on the town garage.
Sorry.
I'm with you.
Not everybody go on that. It's a beautiful building now. And when the yellow
Okay.
barn was finished, we put that on last
We
year.
did.
Are we done?
I think we're done.
We're done.
So I'm gonna say we're at the end of our agenda and we're gonna adjourn.
right.
Thank you.